following events took place in King Fong Province, 25 March 1969, as told in the book Steal My Soldiers' Hearts by Colonel David Hackworth. During an intense firefight, men were pinned down as a point element too close to the enemy combatants to allow for the use of close air support to break the engagement and allow for a retreat. Colonel Hackworth did the following. I decided to roll the dice and called the front seat. Palmer, looks like the only way we can do this is to go down and get them ourselves. Will you ask your crew if they'll make the try? I ran the mission by my guys while Palmer, brave and combat savvy, checked with his co-pilot and two gunners. Roger that, we'll do it, he said. Nev Bumstead, Doc Schwartz, Bob Reynolds, and RTO Billy McAllister all gave me a green light. I had 8 gunchips, combined from the Comanches and bounty hunters, Cobras and Hueys flown by daring and capable crews. Here's what we're going to do, I told Palmer. Our ship will land and do a quick snatch. You organize the guns to cover us. Pretend we're an infantry squad firing and maneuvering. Every second we're on the ground, I want one gunship over us, cruising down that tree line. And when the gun's out of ammo, I want him to break off and another to roll in immediately and pick up the slack. I want that tree line constantly blistered while we're down there. Got it? Affirmative on that, sir, Palmer snapped back. The chopper guys had never seen or heard of any such aerial tactic before. No one had taught it at Fort Rucker, the Army Aviation School. But it was, of course, common for infantrymen to cover their comrades on the attack with rifle and machine gun fire, so why wouldn't it work for helicopters? I just needed the enemy to put their heads in the bottom of their holes and keep their fingers off the trigger while our bird landed virtually on top of them, scooped up Wallace and his people, and hightailed it. My bet is we'd bring it off. We had shock and action and surprise on our side. Palmer, you're squared away and ready to go? I asked. Roger that, sir. His voice was calm and steady. He dropped down fast, hovering for a moment in front of the line of bunkers. Aided in maneuver because he was running low on fuel and had a lighter load. The VC, taken totally by surprise, responded by ducking instead of firing back. Rockets and minigun bullets from the gunships whistled all around us, smacking the VC positions. Down on the ground, Wallace figured the situation was hopeless. I didn't know what decision to make, and then I look up, and here comes this damn chopper down out of the air, heading straight toward us. I really didn't think he was going to land, but he kept coming down, heading toward our position as he got fairly close. I saw the battalion commander was standing out there on the skids with all the firing going on. I couldn't figure out what the hell he was doing. I mean, this is the man I was definitely afraid of. He'd eat your ass for no reason if you looked at him cross-eyed. Tom Bever also looked up and saw the chopper coming down. I didn't know who it was, he says. Then someone yelled, "It's the Colonel." And I said, no, that can't be. It was like a scene in a movie. I couldn't believe anybody would do that. Bever had a point, but this wasn't a movie, and there was real bullets coming at us. And there were real men, not actors, getting the shit shot out of them down on that killing field. When the ship was about 6 to 8 feet off the ground, I jumped from the skids and ran toward the pinned soldiers. Sergeant Wallace stood up, ramrod straight, a GI scarecrow with a leg wound and a bloody hand, and snapped a salute. "Hardcore recondo, sir," he shouted. I couldn't believe my eyes and ears. What the fuck did this idiot, this incredibly brave idiot, think he was doing? The VC were back to firing at us, bullets whizzing by from every direction, from our friends to our enemies, equally lethal, and here was Wallace sounding off. "Let's get your boys in the chopper." I gave him a push in the right direction, toward where Holloman was lying on the ground. Wallace grabbed his feet, I grabbed his shoulders, and we carried him to the chopper. There must have been about 9 people already in that chopper: the pilot, co-pilot, his 2 gunners, I think the forward observer, an Air Force doctor, and me and him and Holloman, Wallace recalls. We put Holloman on the floor there, and I turned around to go after my weapon, even though it was no good at this point. That was training, and the colonel grabbed me and swung me around into the chopper. Then he ran back and grabbed Fabrizio by the belt and shirt and picked him up and sat him up in the seat while he stepped on the skid of the chopper. Any other time, no way could I have lifted Fabrizio so easily and carried him at double time a dozen yards and tossed him into the chopper, but with the adrenaline pumping through my body at battle pitch, he seemed as light as a bag of marshmallows. By this time, BC were on to the game, their guns zeroed in on our aircraft. When I looked inside, I saw Palmer ducking behind his console. Tracers were going above and between the rotor blades and the body, and underneath the front and the rear of the bird and through it, recalls Sergeant Gary Du Bois. All the Gook machine guns out there were trained on that chopper. The plexiglass windows in front were exploding. The chopper was smoking and shaking. I thought no way was that chopper going to lift out of there. With the 3 additional passengers, the CNC was so full that I had to stand out on the skids. I grabbed my crash helmet and yelled in the mic, "Let's get this mother out of here." I was so dried out I could only croak. Although I wasn't conscious of being afraid, my tongue was stuck to the roof of my mouth. Quickly I took a swig of water from my canteen and tried again. "Let's get the fuck out of here." This time Palmer got the message. He swung the Huey around just before an RPG round whistled in and landed where the tail boom had been. If it hadn't moved when he did, we'd have been a permanent VC firing range. Fabrizio and I reached out and grabbed hold of the Colonel Hackworth. Wallace says, I was afraid he was going to fall out of the skid. Inside the bird, Doc Schwartz, the acting battalion surgeon, treated the wounded. He'd flown out with Bumstead that morning when the fight first started. Figured he'd be Johnny on the spot. He had no idea he'd become part of the air rescue so dangerous he'd have nightmares about it for the next 30 years.